Hey, what's up everyone? Andrew from American Musical Supply here at NAMM 2022. I'm in the, yeah, I keep wanting to say winter NAMM, but it's the hybrid summer whatever NAMM.
It is, it's just NAMM, that's what we're going with, I think.
It's great to be here. I'm at the Taylor Guitars booth with Mark Seal. How are you?
Doing good, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
So I feel back in the real world again.
Right, absolutely. Well, you're gonna talk a little bit about what's new for Taylor guitars. I understand like some changes to the 700 series, the addition of some Koa models, is that correct?
That is, yeah, and there's a really kind of a cool backstory with the whole Koa thing that we're doing with the 700 series. So, if we go way back to our original 700 series, it was Indian Rosewood, right? And what we would do is we'd get our rosewood logs and we'd find the really pristine, small percentage of the really more colorful rosewood, and we would set those sets aside for our 900 series. We'd find maybe the grade that was slightly below that for the 800 series. And then we had all this great rosewood, but it wasn't super, super flamed or figured like and colored like some of the 900 series. But it was great wood. It was builder grade material, sounded good, aged well, all those things. And the people that wanted Indian Rosewood could get it on the 700 series, a little more affordable if they weren't concerned about that, but they wanted the sound of rosewood. It was a great option for us to do that. So we looked at the 700 series and we realized we have a lot of great rosewood guitars, but with this, we've come into a situation because of our responsible forestering practices that we've done over the years, and it's a whole deep story there. But we actually have more Koa, we have access to more Koa now because we're reinvesting in planting and spending money to really sustain that particular varietal. And as a result, we now have access to more Koa, and even more so, some Koa that's a little bit different, some trees that have grown a little bit more straight. And so what happened was, Andy's looking at these trees and we're cutting just like rosewood. You've got that small fraction of a percent that's the highly figured Koa that we use on our K-series guitars, right? And so we would do that, and we put the big gloss on it, and you could see a mile into it, as Andy would say, and they're beautiful guitars, and people buy them often because they're so beautiful. They sound great, but they just look amazing, as we know. So he didn't want to just make another K-series guitar, but more affordable. So what he said, well, look, we've got all these sets that he calls select grade, and that's what you're looking at right here. This is a 724. What we're looking at is it's beautiful. It's got really beautiful color variegation. The lines are a little bit straighter because the tree was grown straighter. And he decided, well, if we're going to build these 700 series, we don't just want to make the K-series down in the 7. He wants to make it sound different. So some of the key features on this 724, this is a grand auditorium. And everything I say about the 724 as far as aesthetics and build goes for our 722, which we'll showcase here in just a minute. It's got the same thing. But effectively, he took the bracing on the inside, on the back, not the top, but still V-class bracing, but the back of the guitar is braced with the ends of the braces are a little bit stiffer and the back's a little bit thinner. So it moves a little different, gives it its own, a little more vibrant, a little more snappy sound to it. We've been saying it's kind of a vibrant sound. It does. It sounds, I use the word brooding, and I love the word brooding with Koa because it's got the mid-range, and it's kind of warm, sometimes kind of dark. This is definitely a lot more vibrant. And another thing, we have this ultra-thin finish. And so we talk about an ultra-thin finish. If you think back to the 800 series a few years back, we went to that 3.5 mil, really thin finish. That helped a lot. This one is as thin of a finish as Andy said is willing to put on a guitar. It's at 2 mils, I think. But what that does is it kind of filters the guitar a little bit. The finishes, we use those sonically. He knows how it's going to impact the sound of the guitar. But you can also kind of feel the guitar. It's more tactile, more organic. And as a result, it becomes more player reflective. You kind of notice just how you handle the guitar is all kind of there, if that makes any sense. Another thing, it makes the guitar feel really light, and it feels airy, and it feels like a broken guitar. Dry, I use the word dry in a very positive way. It has a very dry feel. It just is that organic kind of dry feel and tactile. Another thing we did is Rosewood was off the menu for quite a while due to some regulations we had going on. Not we, but the community at large. And so Rosewood's back on the menu, so we put that as our binding. So it's really beautiful. It's got just a great look to it. Obviously the wood pickguard. We've got these new polished bronze tuners, which is new, which just, again, to me, I think that was the first thing my eye went to. It's a really kind of beautiful bling factor, but it matches and pairs so well with a wood guitar like this. You see the back.
It's very subtle.
Yeah, right? I don't know if you guys how well you can see that, but they're just gorgeous. And you can still see that that's not great figuring, right? It's just not master grade with crazy, stuff going on, but it's beautiful. It's very three-dimensional at times. And it has a really great sound to it. So I'll just strum a couple of chords that everybody might recognize so they can kind of get a point of reference. It's got a little more chime to it. It's not quite as dark, right? It's a little more, just more present, and it's very player reflective and the sensitivity of the instrument. It's great for fingerstyle if you're. Sounds very woody, right? So it's just a fantastic instrument. People have been really blown away. One of the cool things about them also is it's very challenging to have marketing and production meet up. We have completely met up. These guitars are available. They're both the same price. They're $34.99, and they're available now, which is great for us. That's sometimes challenging to have the launch with NAMM, and we timed it well this year, and everybody.
For sure.
You know how that goes.
So what if you can just repeat the model numbers that we have here?
Absolutely. This is the 724 CE Koa. So the 7 is the series. The 2 tells you you've got a hardwood top, a matching top in this case. And the 4 tells us it's the Grand Auditorium, which is also our most popular body shape since 1994. So.
Gotcha.
All right, so this is our 722. So everything that we just talked about for the 724 is going to be the same thing here, except the body's a little bit smaller and the scale length's a little bit shorter. And what we get from grand concert bodies is we get a guitar that requires a little bit lighter touch, and you can obviously strum chords on it, which we'll do, but a lot of fingerstyle guys like this, and a lot of people really like it for recording because you don't have as many lower notes to fight with in the studio when you're trying to mix stuff. So this is a great guitar for recording. It's a great couch guitar. I tend to play my grand concerts more than anything else if I'm sitting on the couch, and I'll play my bigger guitars if I'm playing with a crowd of guitar players, right? But what I love about this is with a much lighter touch, I can just not give it very much with my right hand, and you get that. I play more single note stuff. Kind of sounds Hawaiian, you know, it kind of has that vibe to it. Just really mellow, chill guitar, really fun to play. Again, if I grab some chords on here, it's fairly loud. It's not gonna be as loud as the other guitars that we play, but
it's interesting that the character between the fingerstyle and the pick is kind of different, you know. Like it had a very warm. I mean, not saying that it doesn't sound warm strummed, but it has a different character when you lay into it a bit more.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Nobody's made that on these interviews so far, but you're right. When we hit a little bit harder, you start to hear a little more sparkle come out, which is kind of unique. You know, I'm not used to that either.
Yeah.
When you have the lighter touch and the fingers on it, it's got a little more. It's actually, when we say player reflective, it mirrors what we traditionally think of Koa a little more with fingerstyle. And it has something a little different when you get the pick onto it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, cool. And so I see you're holding another new model here, the Ad27e Flame top. Did I get that right?
You got it. That's a lot. It's a mouthful. Right? Easy for you to say. It's yeah. So the AD is the American dream.
I did practice a little bit.
Yeah, you did nice. I've blown it 100 times, but yeah, the AD is for American Dream. Okay. That's our series of guitars that are USA made. And you know, super high quality, all that. We just give you everything you need as a player, and maybe not so much aesthetically bling stuff that you don't need. It's almost like you could say it's like our Academy series, but American-made versions. In terms of, you know, the Academy series is just made to play. It's made for people to really get there and play, and we're not worried about all the frills. This is kind of that same thing in the American line. And so the American Dream, this guitar is a Grand Pacific body shape, still V-class bracing. But what's really interesting about this guitar is the entire guitar is maple, which I can't think of a guitar that I know has got a maple backsides and top. And so you would think traditionally with maple, it's probably going to be really thin. It's not going to sustain long because that's typically some of the characteristics we think of maple, right? But the reality is Andy paired this with uncoated nickel bronze strings, and it added its own flavor. The thin finish does its own thing to it, and the way it's built, it has something really special. In fact, the first time I played it, my personal experience, I was blown away because I have a 517, which is the same guitar in mahogany. And when I played that guitar, I thought, well, that's a really warm guitar. I thought, well, this is going to be really bright by comparison. This is actually much bigger and warmer. And I'll play it. This is kind of the aha moment. You go, holy smokes, how is that possible? said this several times, but I think it's the most untailored Taylor that I've played. And it sounds, to me, I think it might be my favorite G chord on any of our guitars. I know we have a 618E that has a great E chord on it, but the G, it just, to me, when I describe it to people, it's like, gosh, the guitar sounds like it's been fully mixed. It sounds like it's gone through great preamp, it's EQ'd perfectly, it's mastered. You get that just warm.
It sounds very open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very organic, woody. It's got an incredible tone, and I would have never thought that combination of maple could bring that, but it does it really well.
Awesome.
It almost makes me want to take one of these and throw a set of the Elixir Bronze on to see how it would differ, how much the strings matter, because I don't play uncoated nickel bronze strings, right? But they sound amazing on here. And that's kind of the first thing you see when you look at it. You see this, it's great. Wow, it's maple. You go, whoa, the strings are silver. It's kind of odd, or nickel,
Wow, very cool. Well, thanks, Mark, for taking us through these new models in the 700 series, the Koa editions, and then also the Ad27e. And just want to remind you all that all of these guitars are currently in stock at AmericanMusical.com. So if you're interested in finding out more information or even picking one up, you can head on over to AmericanMusical.com. Thanks again.
Nice work. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.